I fell in love with St. Petersburg immediately. I had been to Clearwater and Tampa as a high school student at an honors society convention and a key club convention, but I'd never been to St. Petersburg before I came down for my interview. And January of 1980, and they knew how to attract me, seduce me. They put me up in a city-owned motel, which is gone now, on the east side of the Vinoy, surrounded by water on three sides. And they took me to Pepin and filled me with shrimp, and they took me to see the students and the faculty playing water volleyball at noon in the pool. And I was hooked, really. Although it was shocking, the campus was so small. When I came for my interview, Davis Hall hadn't even opened. We were out on the point where marine science is now. And when I came, I shared an office with two other people. We were upstairs in the old Merchant Marine building. It was quaint, a beautiful view out on the water. But it was like no university campus that I'd ever seen. We didn't have even an independent library. It was just in a part of one of those buildings, and so it was a shock to go from Minnesota, which was at that time was the largest university in the country. Minnesota on one campus, we had 52,000 students. So I went from this gigantic state university in the Big Ten to this regional campus, and so I was taking a real chance that we could build something here. You had to sort of imagine what it might be like. The book won a big prize, and unlike most histories of a city, but it made me the local guy. For a lot of people, they know I wrote the history of St. Petersburg. And I was, of course, on the board of the St. Peter Historical Society, and ultimately on many, many boards. When they had a commission to write a new city charter, they put me on that. I've been on every task force, every committee, and so doing that book and being here allowed me really to serve as kind of the public intellectual for the city, which is something I probably couldn't have done almost anywhere else. My mentor was this incredible man named Sheldon Hackney, who I was his research assistant for the last 2 years at Princeton. He was a young scholar, Yale PhD, who'd just come to Princeton, teaching the first courses on the South that Princeton had had in years. He was from Birmingham. He had married into sort of civil rights royalty, you might say, the Durr family. His wife, Lucy Durr, her mother was famous, infamous really in Alabama. She was the one who led the movement against the poll tax. Her father was the head of the Federal Communications Commission, who resigned because he wouldn't sign a loyalty oath during the Truman years. And they came back to Montgomery, Alabama, where they were from, and he only had black clients. He was the first Rhodes Scholar from University of Alabama, and he became Rosa Parks' attorney. He was the one who bailed her out of jail. And they were deeply involved in the civil rights movement. And when I became Sheldon's research assistant at age 19, it opened up a world to me that I scarcely knew existed. I mean, I'd always been oriented towards civil rights, but I started meeting, figures from the movement and just immersing myself in civil rights history. Oxford University Press asked them to co-edit a series called Pivotal Moments in American History. And the idea was to return history to a storytelling kind of narrative art. They wanted first-rate historians, but they wanted first-rate historians who could write. And so I was very flattered. I was one of the first people they came to. And they said, "Have you got a pivotal moment for us?" And in researching the Montgomery bus boycott, I actually got more interested in the Freedom Rides, which is really an epilogue. It comes out of that experience. It's nonviolent direct action, just as the boycott was. But I said, this is a story that's never been told. There's never been a book. This is a pivotal moment. I wasn't positive because that's not the way most civil rights historians saw it. I had demonstrate that and prove it. And it didn't take me very long to get into my research to realize that I was really onto something, and this was a project that was bigger than just a book, bigger than just something that I wanted to do. I felt so committed to it that sort of retrieving the lives of these remarkable human beings who put their bodies on the line. The university's been such a open environment. There's so much tolerance and of diversity, really. I think the best in the best traditions of academic freedom and community engagement. I love that our campus has that as one of its sort of special emphases is community engagement and undergraduate research. You know, I think I can't think of anything better than those things to emphasize. I'm leaving with all kinds of good feelings about my students and my colleagues and the broader community. I feel very grateful and privileged that I've been given the experiences that the opportunities that I've had here. And so I want everyone to know that, and that that it's been a great ride, as they say.